Okay, I think we're live. Let me check. Welcome to people while I check and see if we're live. Okay, Joe.
Is Owen watching?
I don't know. That's why I gotta get it live first here. I hope we're on the right channel too. I hope we're not on Holland's. That'd be terrible if we're on Holland's live channel.
And here I'm your new Disney friend, Mr. Camo Joe.
That would be terrible for kids. Let's see. I'm trying to look and see if we're streaming, guys, in case y'all wonder what's going on here. Yep, we're live on Blockbuster Battle, so welcome. Oh, crap. I hear myself. So, we are live, everybody. It's been a while since we've done this. First time of the year, right, Joe?
That is first of the year. We have had a hiatus.
Yes, we have. We took some time off to be with our loved ones. For Joe, that's been many people. For me, that's the same. So anyway, let me share this right here, link real quick with some people, and then we'll get started in today's questions. Joe, you want to welcome the people?
Hey, Mom. Not everybody.
Hey, so listen, we want you to. We've got some hot topics here today, and I'm trying to figure out where my camera is. There it is. Hot topics today, and we want you to listen to the arguments and then give us who you think had the best argument. But we know you have your opinions too, so we love to hear your opinions, see where you land, and if we see something that we pick that you would have picked different, let us know. Tell us where we got wrong. Tell us what we got right, but always let us know who wins, because what's more important than anything is me beating Joe. All right. So I'm representing big game this week. Carolina Duke, we're hoping that they win. Please, Lord. Okay, but anyway. All right, so Joe, anything before we get started? Any questions you would like to ask?
Both of these candles are a vigil for the Tar Heel fans because we're going to win. We have the power on our side, love the shirt, and I'm ready to do this.
All right, well, here we go. So the first question is, who is the best Chris in Hollywood? And let's just go ahead and rule out Chris Rock, okay? He had a rough week. We're not going to pile on anything on Chris Rock. We'll leave him out, okay? Greatest moment in TV. Anyway, so Joe, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first on this one.
Okay, go ahead.
We already have our picks on this one. And my vote for greatest Chris right now in Hollywood is Chris Evans. So my vote is based largely, of course, on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is the Captain America that we all came to know and love, that we've spent the last almost 15 or so years, give or take, with. That being said, before that, Chris Evans had a pretty good stand-up. He had a great movie called Cellular. Go back and watch that. It was pre-Captain America. And even after his Captain America tenure, he had a great movie called Knives Out. Great movie. But Chris Evans, to me, really personifies Captain America. I think he did a great job. His legend lives on. And it's not just because of the Captain America legend in future MCU projects. It's because of how well Chris Evans handled that role and the legend that he built for himself. One of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. And, that's my argument for Chris.
Okay, first off, let me say there are a lot of great Chris's in Hollywood. Chris Evans, great Chris. Chris Pratt,
just want to hear yours.
Great Chris. Chris Pine, great Chris. Chris Jenner. Oh, never mind. But the best Chris in Hollywood is without a doubt the best looking Chris. The biggest and strongest Chris. The biggest range Chris. I mean, he's just the best Chris, period. And that's Chris Hemsworth. Okay, I'm talking about also from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thor, the God of Thunder, okay, Mighty Thunder Thor, okay, and let's just talk about Thor's evolution, Chris Hemsworth evolution. He started out with a crappy movie in Thor with long hair, looking like a loser, okay, but he was so Thorish. I mean, he fit that role so good that he has evolved along the way. And here's the thing that is great about Chris Hemsworth. Is not only is he eye candy for you ladies, okay, because let's be honest, ladies, you know you're looking at Chris Hemsworth. I mean, Chris Evans too.
That's an argument. Is his eye candy?
Yes, he is eye candy. Yes, Joe. Like you, I'm very shallow, and it's all about looks, okay? And so, so anyway, Chris Hemsworth, absolute eye candy for everybody watching. Not only is he eye candy, but he has range. He can be serious. He can be dramatic. He can be an action hero. Don't look at it like that, Joe, because I'm telling you what else he is. He's also now, over the past few films, he is the funniest character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can't tell me that Fat Thor wasn't funny.
He was so bad they had to reinvent his character after 2 movies.
Listen, that just shows how good he is, because you know what they did do? Because, there's other bad movies that Chris Evans was in. One of them was called Fantastic Four. You ever heard of that movie?
Yeah, I've heard of that movie.
They did it real twice. Okay, he was terrible in that movie. And he was so bad in that movie that when they redid it, they didn't keep him. They had to start over. Okay, they had to start over.
They had to start over with all...
Thor, even though his first one weren't too bad, but the second movie was horrendous. But Thor was so good, they kept him. And they had to change around him, but they kept him. They didn't recast Thor like they did Chris Evans in Fantastic Four. They didn't recast Thor, or they didn't recast Thor like they did the Hulk. They didn't recast Thor like they did the Green Lantern or Dead. They didn't, he was made for this.
Corey, that argument's invalid. They never recast Captain America. And when the MCU started...
I'm just saying how good he is. They had to find a new place for him because he couldn't fit in that comedic role like Chris Hemsworth can. Joe, true or false? Chris Hemsworth, the funniest character in the MCU right now.
Okay, fine. But I want to say that your argument's invalid because the MCU does not include the Fantastic Four. So
yes, that does now. It does now. They bought the Fantastic Four.
They bought it, but the original movie
okay.
was the last.
What the point is that if Chris Evans was good enough, they would have kept him. Just like Ryan Reynolds, okay? He was so good as Deadpool that they kept him as Deadpool, even though that movie he was in, Wolverine Origins, sucked, okay?
Cool.
Don't argue with facts, Joe. Don't argue with facts. Chris Hemsworth. Let's talk about another Chris. Let me get to another Chris Hemsworth point. A Netflix movie, The Extraction. Okay, that he was in. Very good movie. He played a leading role. Good action hero. Do what?
Better movie right now. Knives Out. Extraction. Good.
Knives Out, but that's because it's an ensemble cast. That's not a Chris Evans movie though. That's a Daniel Craig movie. Okay. He's a secondary character in that movie. All right, he could have been replaced with anybody. All right. Okay. Let's go to this area right here. Let's talk. I'm gonna give you a terrible movie, the Ghostbusters remake with the women. Okay, I don't know what they officially call that.
Yeah, that's Hemsworth.
Yeah, he was in that movie, and he was the best part of that movie, the funniest character in that movie, with a cast that included, what's her name, Melissa McCarthy, and that other chick from Saturday Night Live. They're supposed to be comedians. He's not even supposed to be a comedian, and yet he was the funniest part of that movie. That's why Chris Hemsworth is not only good to look at, but he's the best actor, and he is the best Chris in Hollywood. Case closed. Let us know what you think. Chris Hemsworth. Chris
There is one last point to this argument.
Okay, let's hear it.
The main argument between both of them is Captain America versus Thor. And who was the only other character up until Endgame to wield Mjolnir or any of Thor's weapons? Who else was worthy?
It took him 5 movies to get there, though, Joe.
America. Even Chris Hemsworth said, "I knew it."
Listen. Hey, took him 5 movies to get there where he could hold it. But let me also ask you another question about Captain America. Where is he today? Dead. Who's still rolling the throne? Who's getting ready to come out with a new movie called Thor, Love and Thunder? Thor. Okay? Thor. They're done with Captain America. Let me tell you why Captain America's so bad. Okay? Because yeah, I love Captain America, but he couldn't even have. They gave him one film by himself, and they were like, "No, this ain't gonna work because he's too dull." Okay, so they had to do Winter Soldier, which was really about Bucky. Okay, then they had to do Civil War, which was, an ensemble. They had all the characters in there. They had to pull everything out in the hat. But anyway, that's why Chris Hemsworth the better one.
Fans know that I won that debate. But go ahead.
Okay, no, they don't. It's not just about MCU though. This is about Hemsworth and Pine. And Evans. He beat Pine too. Okay, anyway. Good deal. End of that question. Y'all vote. Let us know who's your favorite Chris. Tell us which was your favorite Chris. Pine, Hemsworth, Rock, whatever. But also tell us who won. Okay, so there we go. Second question, Joe. You want to ask the second question? And then I'll answer first.
Second question is you're going first. But this is also a really tough debate, which a movie here recently played a wonderful tribute to. And I wish we had a third person so we can debate all three aspects. But who is the best live-action Spider-Man? Live-action, non-animated Spider-Man, because there's another argument to be made. So, Corey, take it away because you get to answer first.
Well, if it had been just who's the best Spider-Man, obviously I'd have said Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir. Okay, but since we're doing live-action Spider-Man, I'm going to go with none other than the newest Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Okay? Now, let me tell you why Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. Do what?
I said, go ahead, Gen Z.
Okay. First off, I'm a millennial. Okay.
I know you are, but you're acting like a Gen Z. But
I can't help that. If Gen Z thinks that Tom Holland's the best, because listen, the problem that whatever generation you are, Joe, I think you're like the in between the Z and the millennial. You're like a
millennial, sir.
A Y. Anyway, here's the deal. Y'all get caught too much in nostalgia sometimes. Y'all let that blind y'all. Okay, I don't let nostalgia blind me. Let me tell you why Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man. Not only is he fits the character better. If you know anything about Spider-Man, you know that he was a teenager in high school. Tobey Maguire was 30 years old when he was playing that high school character, okay? He never looked... I was in high school at the time when that movie came out. He didn't look like my high school. He looked like my father, okay? He is terrible. Don't be going to looking nothing up, testing my facts. Okay. Anyway... Tom Holland looks young. He looks the part. He looks like he could actually be in high school. That's why he's the best Peter Parker. He looks like, he acts the part of that part. He's got Peter Parker now. But he also is a great Spider-Man. And he's trying to figure things out. And he does his cool stuff. And Tobey Maguire, who Joe's going to pick, is Tobey Maguire, by the way. Not only... Do what? I'm just telling you who's good. Let me tell you, it is Tom. Okay, I'll let you argue that before I tear him down. But Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man because he looks the part. He fits it more characteristic. He's funny. He's the best. He's the best. Go ahead, Joe. So you're doing Tobey Maguire. Go ahead and tell us why.
No. So hold on now. No facts, no nothing other than he's the best and he's funny. And he's a teenager. That's your argument.
I said he fits the comic the best. Because in the comic, he was a teenager in high school, and Tom Holland, out of all three of the Spider-Man, is the only one who actually looks like a teenager.
That's your number one argument for Spider-Man?
Yes, that's my number one argument. And for now, until you give me some facts, and then I'm going to tear all that down and tell you why Tom Holland does whatever you say better.
So you're done. That's really your whole argument.
Yeah,
all right.
Go ahead. You said that we wanted to keep this 15 minutes, Joe, so hurry up and spit it out.
That's fine. All right, yes. First of all, Tom Holland, great pick. I think he's done a tremendous job as Spider-Man. That being said, my pick is Tobey Maguire. Let me tell you why. First of all, yes, there is nostalgia with it, but let me go ahead and tell you, Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and Spider-Man 1 redefined the superhero movie cycle. It's the first time where it didn't go to this silly narrative that so many comics ever had, this whole good versus evil, also cheesy. It had real depth to it. It was, and to lay out some facts for you, it is the first superhero movie and the first movie ever to hit 100 million in one weekend. One weekend. First movie ever to do that, 2001. And that's the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Great movie. Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest sequels of all time. One of my favorite superhero movies ever, and probably still, say the last Spider-Man, my favorite Spider-Man movie. And the only reason the last Spider-Man best that is because it incorporates all Spider-Man movies before that.
When you say last Spider-Man movie, you talk about No Way Home, not Spider-Man 3, which is a pile of crap.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I'm talking about No Way Home. Okay. That being said, Tobey Maguire set the stage for all future MCU projects. Okay? First movie ever in the first movie of the trilogy to gross $100 million ever in a weekend. Ever. First movie ever to do that. Okay? Second superhero movie, second Spider-Man 2, one of the top sequels of all time, Dr. Octavius, who had the biggest role. Who were the two main villains of No Way Home? That was Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin and Dr. Otto Octavius as Doc Ock. They were the two greatest villains out of any Spider-Man movie that's ever come back, and that's why they had the largest role in the last one. Okay, so Tobey Maguire and that whole trilogy set itself. Yes, Spider-Man 3 was a disaster. It was. Okay, but Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man. Set the stage for Andrew Garfield, who, thank God, he got some more love. His movies, you know, a lot of people didn't have much love for, but going back, this last movie kind of redeemed it a little bit. Andrew Garfield also deserves some respect. But I go with Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland was also a great Spider-Man, but Tobey Maguire forever.
Okay, Joe, let's talk about your little $100 million. Or million. Well, it was $100 million, $1 million. $1 million? $100 million. Let me give you a number. $1 billion. That's what Tobey Maguire. That's what Tom Holland's Spider-Man just did.
Wasn't a weekend.
$1 billion in the weekend. What they do? $300 million.
It probably did, Corey, but that was the first movie to ever do that 20 years prior.
Listen, Joe, listen. Okay, so it made a lot of money. There was nothing else compared to it. So yes, okay, it was the first. Just because something's the first doesn't mean it's the best. Okay, Let's just be real. The first phones sucked. Okay, first cellular phones sucked. This new iPhone so much better. Okay. Crap. Just because something's first doesn't make it the best, Joe. And yes, Tobey Maguire did start and paved the way for it, and he did good. And I love it. I love it. That was for me. That was my Spider-Man. I grew up with him. But Tom Holland came in, and he did it right. He fit the character better. He's a better Peter Parker. He's a better Spider-Man. He had more. He grew in his thing. He didn't have this weird thing. Okay, let me ask you another question, Joe, about Tom Holland. Okay? Tom Holland hasn't had a bad movie. He's had some that were better than others. But all of his Spider-Man movies have been good movies, okay? So we'll start with Civil War. Great movie where he makes his appearance. He's just in that a little bit, okay? Spider-Man Homecoming, fantastic debut in the MCU for his movie.
The only thing that made that movie good was Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Sorry, wasn't such a fan.
And let's talk about, and let me back up a little bit, because you said, oh, Spider-Man came out and it was the first one that wasn't cheesy. Do you remember William Dafoe in that first Spider-Man? That man was cheesy and crazy. It was cheesy. All right? There's a lot of cheese in them movies, okay? And it's okay because it was the 90s and we accepted that, okay? And I liked a little bit of cheese.
Corey, 2001, get your facts.
Okay, 2001, late 90s, early 2000s, okay? Anyway. We accepted it. It had a lot of cheese in it. I'm fine with the cheese. I ain't hating it for the cheese, but it was cheesy. Think about William Dafoe and those faces that he made.
Now, are you going to tell me Ned is not the biggest cheese ever? Okay, so
Ned is just a cool kid, bro. You don't understand Ned. Okay, anyway, cheese, but it's more realistic now. Anyway, back to my points. Where was I at? Okay, Tobey Maguire had a terrible third movie. First movie was great. Second movie, one of the best Spider-Man ever. Okay,
that's right.
But the third movie was a rolling turd. Okay, it was terrible, and it hurt the whole. It didn't end right. But. Tom Holland, bro. He just keeps coming in. He does good. It gets more and more in depth. You get more Spider-Man. He was in this movie with all the other Spider-Man. Spoiler alert, if you hadn't seen it, all the Spider-Man are in the new Spider-Man, okay, and all the villains. And still, in that movie, he outshined everybody, where the nostalgia factor was playing in. People were getting standing ovations in the movie theater for just showing up on the screen, and yet still, we got the best Spider-Man story, the best Peter Parker story ever because of Tom Holland's death. His eyes, the way his eyes were just... He was battling with stuff, and we saw some real love and compassion. And you know, Tobey Maguire, here's what he said in the first one. He walks away from Mary Jane, who's also, you know, that should kind of get us because that's the ugliest Mary Jane that we got. But anyway, she was all right back in the... Yes. Yeah, okay. And so she walks away, and he's like, I can't be with you because I love you, okay, and I can't do it. But guess what happens in the second movie? He's right back with her. Okay, so he really don't care about her. Third movie, he's right back with her. Now, Tom Holland, who is the best Spider-Man, what does he do? He sees MJ in that coffee shop, and he realizes, you know what? I love her too much to tell her who I am. It'd be best if she does it, even though that's the depth of Tom Holland.
He's not going to go back to her.
No, he's not. He's done with her. He is done with her. I believe Tom when he tells me something. Anyway, Tom Holland, best Spider-Man.
I've got one last 10-second point on this question.
Okay.
And that's this. The biggest standing ovation ever was the portal when Tobey Maguire walked through in No Way Home. And then, the best quote ever, like, in the movie was, hey, you with your youth pastor-looking self. So, that right there for you, Corey, should have resonated.
Okay, first off, Joe, you got two facts wrong there, okay? A, the biggest ovation in my theater was when Andrew Garfield showed up.
Because I thought it was Tobey Maguire.
No, they didn't. If you saw the suit, you knew immediately that was Andrew Garfield. But they didn't even start clapping until he took his mask off. They were like, oh my God. And everybody kind of knew. But once he took his mask off, I mean, standing ovation, people clap. And then the second thing is that line, Joe, they're talking about Tobey Maguire. And Andrew Garfield said that. So if we're using those two things, you're fighting for Andrew Garfield. He's obviously the third.
I'm not fighting for it. What I'm saying is that you will use pastor-looking self.
Well, that might be true. And I do love Tobey Maguire, but also he was the fakest Peter Parker because he shot the webs out of his body. Okay? And everybody knows if you read Spider-Man, he makes his own webbing. It's part of the process.
Good. I'm glad you laid out one.
All right. Let us know who's your favorite Spider-Man, and then who won this debate. We know. Tom Holland.
Let's hear about this question and your loony self.
Tom Holland. All right. So the last question is, so me and Joe were talking. Oscars just happened, okay? And if y'all don't know, there was an incident.
No, Smith won Best Oscar. That's all that matters. Everything else.
So anyway, he slapped Chris Rock, and I told Joe it was fake. All right? And Joe said, it weren't fake, it's real. And I said, Joe, you also believe we put a man on the moon. So this is how this debate came about, is I have doubts that we put a man on the moon, that we landed on the moon. So that is our debate today. Did we put a man on the moon? Joe, give us your argument first.
Okay. Yeah. Corey says he has doubts. Corey stated to me, which he will say in a moment, that he believes we didn't land on the moon. Okay.
That's correct. We did not.
All right. Well, let me go ahead here and just for all you QAnon people, just like Corey right here, and crazy conspiracy theorists, that yes, we put a man on the moon. July 20th, 1969. One small step for man. We put a man on the moon, okay? Our NASA program has taken off since the race with the Russians. We have put a man on the moon. I feel just childish having a debate this with everybody. But here's the whole thing. They get billions every single year. We have an international space station hovering the Earth.
But not on the moon.
Elon Musk is putting rockets up that are reusable for the first time ever with SpaceX. Elon Musk is aiming to go to Mars in the next decade. But for some reason, we've never put anybody on the moon. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, they're just all liars. It was just all filmed in some secret government conspiracy. Go ahead, Corey. But I'll go tell you, I don't trust the government a whole lot. but I believe that we did put men on the moon several times. Almost, what was it? Off the top of my head, it was right at 17 or 18 times with the Apollo missions. But we put people on the moon. Okay? Go ahead.
So you believe we put people on the moon, Joe? That's what you're telling me. Okay. I've got.
Listen for the last 2 minutes, but go ahead.
Okay. So here you go. So let me tell you why I don't believe. I have serious doubts. Okay. I'll go ahead and tell you, Joe. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Okay. This is help your argument here today. I know this. I can't say with 100% certainty that we didn't put a man on the moon. But what I'm telling you is that I can't say with 100% certainty that we did put a man on the moon. I just got some doubts. So I lean toward heavily that it was all put on a sound stage.
This is a debate.
I'm telling you, I'm just saying, I'm going to pick the side of we did not land on the moon. And let me tell you why I don't think we landed on the moon. Okay, first off, this happened when we were having heated race with Russia at the time. Okay, and so Russia, if I'm correct on this, they beat us into space. They got to space first. All right. What?
Yes, with Sputnik. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that they got to space first. So now JFK, who's a prideful man, okay, one of our presidents, okay, who he wanted to win. He wanted to win something.
Because he's Catholic, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I ain't got no problem with him being Catholic. I'm probably more so with his extracurricular activities that he had with Marilyn Monroe and stuff. But anyway, it's whatever. Okay, he's the greatest president of all time. We'll forget about that anyway. Listen, he wanted to win. He wanted to win something. So he said, "Hey, we're going to the moon." By the way, there's a great little bio series on moon travel on Disney Plus. If you hadn't seen it, you should watch it. It talks about the space race and John Glenn and all those guys and getting there. And so JFK wanted to go to the moon, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get to the moon, even to the point where he faked it so that it looked like we won. Now let me tell you why I don't believe that we win. First off, this was 1969, Joe. Is that when you said we landed on the moon?
July 20th, 1969.
Okay. They were in contact with these people, talking to them on radios the whole time. From Earth to the moon. Joe, I can't drive to the Green Swamp and keep cell phone signal the whole time. All right? And today's technology is so much better than it was in 1969. So how in the world can they contact the moon and people on the moon and not lose signal, and yet I can't even talk to people down the road? Is this not the craziest thing you ever heard? It's crazy.
The rest of you know I would agree with you, but go ahead.
It's crazy that you could do this. All right, first off, okay, secondly, all right, I have some doubts about some of the things that you see. First off, when you look at their pictures of them on the moon, all right, if you look underneath the landing gear and all the stuff, it looks like it's just set there perfectly. There's no dirt moved. There's no indentions in the earth and the moon. It's all just sat there like it was built and placed there.
Have you been on the moon?
I've seen the pictures, Joe, that they have. And speaking of pictures, let me just show you one of the pictures, Joe. I hope you can see this right here. Let me just show you this. This is a picture that NASA claims is from the moon looking at Earth. Now, Joe, what do you notice about this picture?
It's a picture of the Earth from the moon.
Okay, Joe. When you look in the sky at night, what do you see?
Stars, the moon.
Okay, Joe, do you see any stars in this picture?
You know what? Currently I don't, Corey, but God knows where you got that from on the internet.
Huh? This came from NASA. This is NASA's official photo. Let me tell you, Joe, sometimes at night, because I know some of y'all saying, well, you don't always see stars at night. Sometimes it's too cloudy. Well, there ain't no clouds on the moon. It's just vacuum. It's crystal clear. You should have seen more stars right there than you ever see. And yet this picture, there's no stars.
Or did it ever cross your mind that maybe that they cropped the stars out or faded the stars out?
Joe, did it ever cross your mind that this is all fake?
No, not
huh? Joe. I'm just saying, did you know that they did a survey and that 1/5 of Americans don't believe that we went to the moon because we can't trust the government? I don't know if you can hear this song playing right now in the background or not, Joe, but
I promise you, 1/5 is 20%, and I promise you that 20% plus a whole lot more are below intelligent. So, way to keep it going.
okay, listen. Joe, REM wrote a song about it. They said, "Do you believe we put a man on the moon?" In other words, they're making fun of you for believing that, just taking the government at face value for something they say, man. How come we haven't been back to the moon anymore?
Because of the last failed Apollo mission. There's a great movie about it with Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon. You should go look at it.
Oh, you talking about Apollo 13?
Yes.
So that's the reason we didn't go back, because of Apollo 13. Let me ask you, when they built the space station, why didn't they build it on the moon? Or closer to the moon?
Because it's in orbit around Earth, sir.
Well, we could put it in orbit around the moon, couldn't they? Moon's got an orbit. I mean, its gravitational pull is not as strong. It's about 1/6.
Easier to maintain around the Earth. Let me know when you're doing your argument, Corey, because I have a final point.
Okay, go ahead and give me your next point, Joe. Go ahead and give me your next point.
Look. I want this video to finish up, so you finish anything you have to say.
Because you're gonna have something here. Let me see if I can find the picture right quick to show you.
No, we're not gonna sit here and do this all night. You told me I wasn't able to pull up and blah blah research. You know what? This is a yes or no answer for most Americans, whether or not we landed on the moon.
Do you believe we put a man on the moon? That's the question.
Corey, you know who else? I'll go ahead and lay my final point out and let you say whatever you want to. Do you know who else believed that we landed on the moon? Your mother.
Don't bring my mother into this. Don't bring my mother into this.
Your mother birthed you, and she knows best. And your mother believes this. Therefore, it is correct. Because what Mama says goes. To quote
let me also tell you what my mother believes. Okay, she believed that if you swam after you ate, before you waited 30 minutes, you would get cramps and die. And let me tell you, I've been doing that my whole life. I'm still alive. So my mama's wrong. Mama, you wrong. You wrong. We didn't land on the moon, and and you wrong about a lot of stuff.
Bless you.
That's what I got to say about that, Joe. So let us know. You think we landed on the moon? This was a fun question. Now listen, as we close out here, because I do have Joe pointed out that some of my parishioners at church might think I'm crazy and do this. Listen, most of what I'm telling you isn't fun. Do I have a little bit of doubt that we didn't land on the moon? Yes, I do. Okay. Do I think we probably did? I hope so. I hope to God so. But yes, but this has been fun and having a good time. So don't be calling my boss man and saying, "Hey, you got a pastor that believes we didn't even land on the moon." Calm down, people. Calm down. All right, we just having fun. We didn't land. If you believe we landed on the moon, that's fine. You probably believe that COVID was real too. Hey, we'll see y'all next time. Yeah, you're right, Joe. This may be our last recording. Hey, if it is,
your last recording.
Oh, Joe's going to replace me. Joe said that masks don't work. In fact,
I didn't say that.
Joe said masks don't work, and that he was first off, I'm vaccinated, and Joe refuses to answer whether he is or not. So y'all will take.
3 vaccines, sir. So
you have 3 vaccines? What? Measles, mumps, and rebellion, tetanus, and chicken pox.
I have the vaccine plus 2 boosters.
Okay. Well, you one up me there. I've got the vaccine and 1 booster. I ain't going for another booster. Okay, I'm
going for a fourth. Let me tell you.
COVID's over. We've got a war with Ukraine.
Why are we debating? All right, let's run this down real quick.
Okay.
Finish this. All right. So best Chris is Chris Evans. Best Spiderman is Tobey Maguire, and we did land on the moon. All right.